Okay, we're back. And as you can see, I've removed all of the screws from these holes. And now at this point, what I would do if I were you is I would give it a little jiggle just to see and make sure that I've got them all. Because if you're overconfident and you just yank that, you could break something. Another thing we need to do real quick is we need to undo this ribbon here. Well, we don't need to. You could probably do this operation without doing that, but it just makes everything so much easier to undo these two ribbons. So that's what we're going to do now. And the way you do this is you have to grab as low as possible and try not to touch anything if that's possible. But I use my finger back here on this tab. I grab with my thumb right here and just kind of lean back. It is tough. You can wiggle a little and then there, it just gives. And it's just a ribbon connector. But remember the way that it goes, okay? This was flipped over like this because it goes like that, and the writing in this case goes on the downward side, but make sure it's the same way on yours. Okay, so now with that, I can take the chassis, the bottom part, and move it off to the side. Because we're not going to be using that anymore. Okay, now, we're just concerned with the top piece now, because really what we're doing, remember, is trying to get this assembly off. See, there's some more screws we need to mess with. But first, alright, that looks like it's got it. Make sure that none of them fall in. We could go through and pick them all up real quick. I guess that's what I'll do. This thing comes in so handy, especially for these that are down. Oops, a little hard to get the screws off. Ah, okay. Then last one. Boom. Okay. Okay, so now we need to very carefully lift this off of here. Feels like it's still caught on something over here, but sometimes it's just these ribbons. I don't know. In this case, I might have something else going on that is preventing it from lifting up. Ah, no, that was it. It had a little, there's little plastic tabs that stick through here. Be very careful when you're doing this stuff. Okay. There's that. Now, I think I can just leave that connected and flip it over like that for now. Since I don't have two hands. And I might have to pause this and come back to you, but I'm going to try not to. Just for a personal challenge, I'm going to... Oh, messed something up there. That was the reverse switch. Hold on. Pause. Okay, it looks like I'm going to have to be a little brave and take this one out too. This ribbon right here. Because when I flip it over, I'm going to need to get this whole ring off and this whole thing to come out. So I might as well just disconnect it all. So let's just very carefully do that one the same way. Ever so gently wiggling, pulling from one side then the other, and voila, there you go. Okay, so back to this. I'm going to try and, this is loose now, see? I'm going to try to and this is disconnected. So I'm going to try, and this is so much easier with two hands. Might be able to hold this under my chin. Let's see if I can do that. This is really not easy to do. The thing that's keeping it in is this ribbon here, and there's a ribbon over there, and then there's the weight of that board. If I had another person here that could lift this up for me, it'd much easier. I wouldn't be ripping everything up. There we go. Okay. Not the cleanest, smoothest removal I've ever seen. The first time I did it, it went much smoother. But then again, I was using both of my hands. Okay. I'm gonna have to get a GoPro or something if I plan on making any more videos, because this is really not fun. Okay, now we are done with this part. So I can set it off to the side. I'm losing knobs. I better put that over there. See, my screws are accumulating rather quickly over here. Okay, we're gonna set this off to the side. Okay, now we're to the meat and potatoes here, finally. And here's our replacement ring. Probably can't see very well because this is a black table I'm working on, and didn't really think about that. Okay, now what I need to do, as you can see from the top, actually I don't know that I need to disassemble this any further, because on the MK2 you have to do it this way. Those screws I was talking about at the beginning are around the edges here, and you have to undo them, and then the middle lifts out, then you can lift this part out like this. But on the MK3, one thing they did that's better, and I really like this, is if you see these screws here, there's this screw, there's this little notch. Do not break that off, be very careful. And there's this. By the way, up here, this is what was different. That is the knob that allows you to adjust the tension. There's a whole bunch of gears under here. I don't think you're gonna need to take this plate off, but if you did, there's a whole bunch of gears under there that turn and help the platter decide how tough to be. Okay, so what we do is gently kind of just, I've got my thumb, I'm putting it under here, I'm putting my forefinger right here, and I'm sort of pushing in and pulling up as I push against that. See, all I did was pop that out of that little thing. Now I come over here and make sure that it's out of these little screws, doing the same exact way. There's one more over here. I can just pop it off here, and voila, we got that thing off. That can go in the trash. Okay, now this. Okay, all we got to do is do the exact same thing, put it back on, backwards. Oh, actually no, one more step. There's a thin one and 3 thick ones. So, and I think that's just, I don't know why they did that way, but anyway, wouldn't hurt to actually clean this out a little bit too, because a lot of these older CD players have really been through some stuff. They've been in nightclubs and been toted around in the back of people's cars, so they're really dusty on the inside. So if you've got a little bit more time than I do, you could dust it out a little bit, and I doubt it would really improve the performance, but it would make you feel better knowing that it's newer. Okay, what I'm going to do is the small little notch is on this side, and I need to keep track of that because the small notch is here. So I'm going to just set it in there just like that. And then I'm going to move it a little bit back and forth until it falls in. It's in. Now I just need to put it back under those guide screws that retain it. Oh, there. Okay, it's under that one. Get you a nice shot here of this going under. There, that's under there. And now it's rubbing on that last tab, which is right here. Push inward just a little, and there you go. Okay, it's all back together. Now, easier said than done. I need to put this back into here and reconnect it to this ribbon. I might have to pause this again because I really